So just raise your hand if you have a question.
I'd like to know how to get out of my own way. I have held myself back when I'm in the middle of a, I don't know, a channeling or a reading or something. I find myself tensing up, and there's this voice in my head that's saying, wait a minute, maybe you're the one that's giving this information. Maybe you're influencing it. Maybe you're just in your head and you're not allowing enough of a flow. You're not getting out of the way enough to allow the information to flow without any obstruction. And I tense up because I don't know that information, and I am not allowing the being that's working with me to just answer it and me get out of the way.
When my intuitive development class, I always start with automatic writing, so everyone practices every time just doing it and seeing it and then reading it and seeing the difference between themselves, and I wouldn't say that. And they do it over and over. Every class I started off that way because that really helps you shift into the alternative, the spiritual self as opposed to the ego. Because when your spirit is helping you practice, when you hit the scientific stuff, it doesn't matter. It's not your forte, but that's not what's coming through. You have to just hear the message and then give it to them, you know? And everyone has a specialty of what they work with, but it's really just practicing. Another thing to do is to pray ahead of time, ask their guides to come in, surround myself with archangels and say, let the information come through clear and accurate for this person, and take out any harm. Any little prayer you can do ahead of time so you clearly know it's spirit coming through and not you.
I was wondering, would you guys like to contribute as far as a question that relates to the community and where our soul family is heading, how we're all coming together now, or anything that has to relate with us being spiritual beings and what messages you may have felt within yourselves?
Just one thing about the community. When I worked at UCLA as a healer, an energy healer, all the children I worked on I worked there for 6 years, and that to work in the medical model as a healer was really tough. Thank God I was a therapist, but because just in terms of them not respecting the work I did, every child was psychic. It was unbelievable. They would say, I don't want to work with you until I see your aura. And they're like 11. Or what kind of messages do you have for me? Or every time you put your hands on me, I see pictures of this and that. So these children are coming. And I read Doreen Virtue's book on Indigo and Crystal, and I was like, oh, that's cute. But I really worked with them. I was like, wow, they are really here. And they are more in tune. They're more truthful. They're more honest. They're more psychic. So the planet is shifting. And the shifting, so we have to catch up with them, because I couldn't hide anything. Why do you feel sad today, Carolyn? Do you not want to do the healing today? I was like, wow, So that's why I started teaching classes. All these things came to me. I wanted to be a social worker, live in my little house, my family. That's it. The spirit came to me and wanted me to do this work. So in terms of the community happening, when CNN came to us to film me doing healing on a child, I was terrified. I was like, I don't want this to be out there. I work in a hospital, but it came because the universe needs to hear, the United States needs to hear about that. We're alternative healers. Dr. Oz introduced it. You can see it on my website. He introduced the saying, energy healing is the #1 healing. It's going to happen. And he's mainstream. So the planet is shifting. And we have to be out there as intuitive, because there's so many lies and there's so much nonsense going on. Everything, the banking system, everything is breaking down. The healthcare system is breaking down. This is all meant to be so that the truth can start coming out. So we can have bad food, so we can eat better food. So we can have oil spills, so we can clean up the oceans. We have to live here. And I think it's important. The more intuitive you are, the more you're going to be able to see truth, honestly, and your connection to source. Okay? It's really important. Thank you for the question.
Thanks. Okay.
I've been doing some self-healing. I feel like I have spirit in me, and I'm going through a healing, because what happens is my eyes start scanning my body, and I feel sort of like a correction or alignment is happening. But it's not like I'm even thinking about it. It's just happening constantly. As soon as I close my eyes, it happens. I could be on the phone talking to somebody, and I start scanning, and I'm thinking, am I helping this person on the phone? Am I having assistance? Or is something upsetting me that I need help to to feel better with the healing. So I'm not real clear about this. So if anybody has any answers, I'd appreciate it.
Are you grounding yourself? You sound like you're not grounded.
No, because
Yeah.
it just happens.
Okay, make sure
Yeah.
every day you ground yourself and learn the techniques of grounding. Because we all get fuzzy, and then we're on the earth plane, though we're spirits. And then when the things come in, like when I had those feelings on top of me, I felt heavy, I wasn't grounding myself. I didn't know what was going on. And then when I learned how to protect myself and ground myself in the earth, connect to the spiritual realms, there's a lot of energies out there that are not positive, too. So once I grounded myself, then I was able to work with it a little bit stronger.
I just had a question about how you schedule your readings, because it's very draining, and so do you limit yourself in terms of scheduling?
I still work as a social worker part-time. To me, it's the mind-body. The mind is the psychotherapy. The body is the energy healing. The spirit is the soul readings. And people tell me a lot of trauma. And I work in the ER some days, and then 2 days a week. And then other days I work as privately doing healings and readings, and I get drained, and I have to take care of myself. I'm very sensitive. I will be in a group of therapists, and they will tell me the worst trauma and not tell other people. And it's a gift, it's whatever, but I have to take care of myself. I need to eat. If I'm at a fair, I can go readings, and then I crash. Same thing, I crash. And then I was like, okay, the next day I'm going to just like be on the couch till 11, and I'm going to do some meditation, I'm going to get some sage, I'm going to take care of myself. But it is joy to give people peace and an understanding of their life purpose.
This work is by permission, obviously, the being that you're working with. But, it's a fine line, karmic line, to actually talk and work with a particular person and how that affects them and perhaps other individuals around them. So how do you deal with this when you're faced with these situations?
Like you're a social worker, I'm a social worker. I think that's why I became, use my psychic abilities, because there's people that, it's like the traumas, I know how to deal with it. It's just I deal with it every day. So people refer to me if they have someone like that. So I think that's why some of us are coming out of the closets as social worker, therapists, and intuitives, because it needs to be, So there's all these different levels, great channelers, great mediums, there's a lot of different aspects. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah.